Okay, boy, a full house. Good afternoon, everyone. Couple of housekeeping items before I move forward. Everyone should have received a survey. So if you have your survey before you leave, after you have finished with all the presentations, because we're going to be doing this every year for a lot of years to come, as you will witness as you go through the presentation, we want to get better. So your feedback will help us get better, keep the things that are working, and improve upon the ones that are not. So I did my telegram, so I can leave that alone. The other thing is that we have two different solicitations that are out in the market today. One is for Wi-Fi and content management and advertising, and the other one is for in-terminal concessions for terminals, parts of Terminals B and a part of Terminal E. Edward. So at some point, we're going to break folks up, and we're going to do all the high-level information for everyone in regards to what's TRIP and what's going on in terms of the renewal of the legacy airports, how to do a proposal, etc. And then we're going to break, and we're going to ask the Wi-Fi folks to go down to the Europe room. You're going to Europe. And for the folks that are interested in in-terminal concessions, that you will just stay right here after the break. Okay? Got that? I think you guys know where the restrooms are. They're through this door to your right, and then over in the corner to your left if you need to use the facilities. Additionally, you should have received a note card, a little index card. We may not get to all the questions and all the feedback that you may have for us today, but we want to capture it and we want to address it and post it on our website so that we can make sure that we address as much as we can. And please don't take to heart that if we say, you know what, that's some good feedback, I just don't have a response for you today. I'm not trying to be rude, nor will the team be rude. It's just a matter of I don't want to give you bad information or wrong information. So if I don't know, I don't know. That's a good point, and we'll get back to you. Now, when we talked about, we have brought on board to speak to you guys just about every discipline in the airport, because this is an airport initiative. This major terminal renovation of our 4 legacy terminals is just unprecedented. It's $1.92 billion, but who's counting? The number kind of fluctuates one way or the other. But it has involved every aspect of the airport. So coming before you, you'll have folks from the Business Development and Diversity. You'll have people from our ADE department talking about the overall construction and renovation program and how that it will impact concessions and what the timing is. We have Jeff Benvenue from our Air Service and Development being able to talk about future employments, what's going on, what's projected in these 2 terminals. And, you know, folks think that B&E are, you know, they're going to be some great terminals in the future. So don't thumb your nose. These are some super opportunities. So I think that there will be enough for everyone to really take a look at, and depending upon your concept, that you can bid on. We have Ron Duncan, who is from our procurement department, and he's going to talk about the do's and don'ts as it relates to filling out a request for proposal. Martha and Michael are going to continue to talk about some of the evaluation process, the communication process, and then we'll start breaking and getting into the specifics where the team will then talk all the logistics depending upon the solicitation that you're here for. And where do you get information? Write this down, www.dfw.com/opportunities. You will find everything you need to know in regards to the solicitation, any addendums, any changes, updates, etc., any resources that we talk about. These presentations will be posted, and you want to make sure that you go there often to make sure that you are up to speed in regards to what's available for you. And again, as I talked about as relates to questions, if we don't know the answer, we'll capture it. You give us some good feedback. Just say, hey, I got some feedback for you. We'll capture that. And if we don't have a response, we will get back to you. So, is Suzanne Cruz-Sewell here? They were supposed to build into my script some things that I could do in terms of like a song and dance in the meantime. Uh-oh, here she comes. Here she comes. The lady of the hour. Now pay close attention to the alphabet soup that she's going to be talking to you about, because I think she even has some prizes.
I do, like the Merry gifts. Good afternoon, everyone. Did you already do the motivational? Come on, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, it's happy hour somewhere. All right, let's see. Okay, this new airport ACDBE goal that I'm going to talk about does not pertain specifically to either of the solicitations that are being discussed today, the Terminal B&E concession RFP and the Wi-Fi component. The goals that are associated with those solicitations are specific to those solicitations. What I'm going to briefly talk to you about is the FY 2012 and 2014 goal that the airport is required to set and submit to FAA for approval. Got there. We are required, DFW Airport, because we receive Airport Improvement Program funds, or AIP funds, we are required to have the ACDBE goal as well as the DBE program, set goals and report our accomplishments every year. So the DBE goal was established for a 3-year period earlier this year, and October 1st we submitted our recommendation to FAA on the FY 2012-2014 ACDBE goal, and that goal is 32.5%. There is also a goal for the car rental component, which is that goal is going to be 3.75%. And the methodology behind these goals, there are several things that are taken into consideration. There's the last 3 fiscal years that we take into consideration in terms of how we did against our ACDBE goal of 33%. And for the last 3 years, we have exceeded the 33% as it relates to ACDBE. As well as the upcoming business opportunities for ACDBE for the next 3 fiscal years, again 2012 through 2014. And then we also take into consideration the availability of ACDBEs, and we gather that information not only from the certification databases, but also on the interest that has been expressed in these solicitations here in the last year or so. So there are a lot of things that are taken into consideration. We are required by 49 CFR Part 23 to go through this process every 3 years in terms of setting an overall ACDBE goal for concessions and also non-car rental and car rental concession spaces. What we are asking is for your feedback. We are required to post this for 30 days. It's posted on our website, and it will be open for 45 days so that you can provide any comments. And what I'm asking you to do today is to go to our website, dfwairport.com, click on Business Opportunities, and then click on Business Diversity and Development, which is the department name, and then click on the ACDBE program. We've got the public notice posted. We've got the methodology posted for the 32.5% ACDBE goal for concessions and the 3.75% ACDBE goal for car rental program. We have the methodology in full detail disclosed on our website. And if you have an interest, I would encourage you to go on there, read the methodology, understand how we came up with those goals, and to send us any comments that you may have to our BDD email address, which is just that, bdd@dfwairport.com. Once we receive these comments in writing, we will respond to them if they're questions, but we've got to include any public comment in our final proposal to FAA. So I just asked Zanola, because we have a full group of concessionaires here today, to give me 5 minutes to talk to you about the ACDBE goal that we are proposing to FAA. It was submitted on the 1st, and so for the next 45 days, we will be taking public input and feedback. And if we receive none, well, we receive none. But if we do receive comments from ACDBE, we do definitely want to incorporate that into our proposal and share those comments with FAA. So again, this goal, these two goals, the rental car and the concessionaire non-car rental goals that I mentioned, are not applicable to these two solicitations that we're discussing today. This is only DFW Airport's overall ACDBE goals for the next 3 years. Okay?
Now, she'll be back later to give you some more details on alphabet soup. Okay. So the next person that is up is Mr. Dwayne Brown.
Half ago that shows what the concepts were for the TRIP program, the Terminal Renovation and Improvement Program. My name is Dwayne Brown, and I'm the implementation director for that program on behalf of DFW Airport. That's really the reason we're here, is because this program is the vehicle we're using to totally update and upgrade the concessions programs within all 4 of the legacy terminals, A, B, C, and E, and also to put in the capacity, the bandwidth capacity that will allow us to do some additional things with content and Wi-Fi systems. So that's really the vehicle we're using to be able to modernize the terminal facilities. This planning process started, as you'll notice, back in June of 2007. It was a long process to figure out what do these terminals need. Those 4 legacy terminals I mentioned, most of them had started construction back in 1970, 71, so they're about 30 years old. So they've reached really the useful life that they were originally designed for. So this program with TRIP is intended to upgrade those 4 terminals and bring them into current code compliance, to upgrade all the systems, to provide a more energy efficient facility. Because as you can imagine, the systems that were installed in 1970 were not the most energy efficient. I mean, we weren't even talking about energy efficiency much back then. Moving from the master planning scheme, then we took all those concepts and we had to turn them into a program. What was the actual program going to include? Because there were probably 10 concepts out there for every one that we could afford to go do. So this programmatic and schematic design phase was completed last summer. And at that time, we had a very good idea of what was going to be done and what that cost would be, the $1.87 billion that Mr. Kreitz cited in the movie. And that's when they brought on the program manager, Friesen Nichols, which I'm part of that team. And we moved into the design of this facility in March of 2010. And the work has been progressing very rapidly ever since then. We have design complete on phase 1 of Terminal A, on the first phase of construction in Terminal E, and on the, we're working very quickly on coming to the completion of the first phase of construction at Terminal B. Now, Terminal C will follow on down the road after Terminal A is completed. So the solicitation for concessions in Terminal A has been completed. The solicitations for B and E are today. We have 2 great design teams. A and C are being managed by Jacobs as the overall design manager, and B and E are managed by the DIMGM EJES joint venture.